Long centuries ago, the Indian subcontinent gave birth to three of the world's greatest religions. Their core philosophy and essential spirit of resilience have ensured their survival through many dark and difficult ages. And today, they are spread around the world, remaining strong and influential. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. Three significantly interconnected, yet distinctly unique religions. Hinduism. The oldest among them is known as Sanatana Dharma, which means the eternal law in Sanskrit. This refers to its origin as a way of life, rather than as a ritualistic, rule-ridden religion. Though Hinduism has, over the years, grown complex and has erupted into several strands of belief and philosophy, it has held on to certain common, unshakable tenets. These include dharma, samsara, karma, and moksha, which is the longed-for release from the cycle of life. Various yogas, paths, and practices have been prescribed for the individual seeker to reach his spiritual goal in life. Ideally, Atman, the individual soul, seeks and attains Paramatman, the cosmic or eternal soul. Modern Hinduism emerged from the spirit of the Vedas. Nature worship became a way of life. People worshipped deities like Indra, Varuna, and Agni and conducted the Soma ritual. They performed the yajna or fire sacrifice, chanting Vedic mantras, but they had neither temples nor idols. Hinduism was not founded upon a single doctrine, nor did it owe its existence to a single individual. It grew over the ages, accumulating and accommodating wisdom and spiritual laws propounded by various savants and seekers at different times. These truths and scriptures were transmitted orally, embellished and sculpted into poetry, so that people could easily remember and retain them. Hindu scriptures are generally interpreted metaphorically rather than literally. Scholars seek deeper meanings and ethical content instead of being content with their surface meaning. The great divine trinity of Hinduism consists of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. They embody the primeval qualities of creation, preservation, and destruction. Symbolically and spiritually, they are considered the fountainhead of the Hindu pantheon. Hinduism envelops a vast body of scriptures, dealing with theology, philosophy, and mythology, and providing guidance on dharma, or the righteous manner of living. These scriptures are categorized as Sruti, or revealed truth, and Smriti, or remembered truth. The Vedas and the Upanishads stand in the forefront of these texts. Buddhism. Rising out of the core of Hinduism, but discarding several of its elements, including its rituals and doctrines, Buddhism emerged as a successful new religion, reaching beyond the shores of the Indian subcontinent. Based on the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, who attained enlightenment and became known and revered as the Buddha, Buddhism is basically a practical method to rid oneself of the causes of suffering, or dukkha. The story of Siddhartha's life gives an insight into the concept of Buddhism. Born a prince and enjoying a life of luxury and royal privileges, he moves out of this protective existence when he sees the decaying effects of old age, disease, and death, and finally, the contentment of an ascetic life. Deeply affected by these intrusions into his privileged life, Siddhartha moves away from the palace, leaving behind his family and seeking the life of a mendicant. After several futile attempts at reaching his goal, he finally attains nirvana under the healing branches of a peepal tree. The middle path that the Buddha espoused is a path of moderation. It lies midway between the extremes of self-indulgence and self-mortification. The Buddha encouraged his followers to put his teachings to the test and accept only what they could find for themselves. His core message of dharma points to the easing of suffering and the attainment of enlightenment. The Sangha, which is the order of Buddhist monks, is considered to be a refuge. The Buddha also taught the Four Noble Truths, that there is suffering, and that there is a cause of suffering, which is desire, and there is the cessation of suffering, which is nirvana. The final truth is the way that leads to the ending of suffering. This way is the Eightfold Path. This consists of right speech, right actions, right livelihood, right effort, right awareness, right meditation, right understanding, and right thoughts. This, in essence, forms the teaching of the Buddha. Buddhism later developed different branches and schools, and there was a gradual deification of the Buddha. The most visible classification of present-day Buddhism throws up three traditions: Theravada Buddhism, East Asian Buddhism, and Tibetan Buddhism. Having grown as a remedial religion that shed the rituals and dogmas that had started to affect Hinduism, Buddhism in India began to fade when a resurgent Hinduism decided to stand up for itself. Its supremacy in several other countries continued, but it weakened in the land of its birth. Jainism. It is said that even during the birth of Buddhism, Jainism was already a deeply entrenched faith. The Jains follow the teachings of the 24 Jinas, or conquerors, who lived in ancient East India. They are also known as the Tirthankars. Mahavira, who lived in the 6th century BC, was the 24th Tirthankar. A significant element of the Jain belief is the emphasis on the immediate consequences of one's behavior. The first Jina is believed to have lived more than 8 million years ago. He is pictured as a giant. The last Jina was Vardhamana. It was he who was referred to as Mahavira, or the great hero. Mahavira, who was born in Mahajanpad, attained enlightenment after 13 painful years of deprivation and denial. It is said that a Jina is one who has conquered love and hate, pleasure and pain, attachment and aversion. In this manner, he frees his soul from actions that obscure knowledge, perception, truth and ability. Jainism contains many elements similar to Hinduism and Buddhism. Though it is the smallest among the world's major religions, it has a strong presence in India, where most of its 4 million adherents live. Even today, they follow the ancient Shraman or ascetic tradition. Jainism stresses upon spiritual independence and the equality of all life. A core belief is that of non-violence. Self-control is the essential requisite that will finally lead to Kevala Jnana, or self-realization. The two major Jain sects are the Digambar and the Shwetambar sects. The Digambars are sky-clad, which means they do not believe in wearing clothes. This is because they feel that clothes are material possessions that should be discarded. Possessions inevitably lead to sorrow. The Shwetambars, on the other hand, wear only white. Jainism follows 6 vital rules. Do not destroy life, do not lie, practice charity, practice chastity, possess nothing, want nothing, and finally, one's entire life should be devoted to the task of attaining moksha. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. 3 great religions. 3 different belief systems from a single land, sharing so many facets, yet differing on so many counts.